Welcome back to Voice of the Broken, guys. I think this is episode 20. The room is very different. Yes, I'm at a desk. Everything that is here is in disarray. I swore I was going to do one of these a week, or I told myself, I didn't swear shit. I told myself I was going to do one a week. And today's Friday. Today's technically the last day of the week that I'm working, so I have to record this, edit this, get it ready to go before Sunday. But I want to get this done, and even though I still have to do the entire studio, we have a whole lot in chaos right now. I want to be able to get this recorded. So I'm going to read a couple emails, get some of this done, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then finish building all this out. For those of you who are curious about what we're doing, I really hope that you are subscribed to our Patreon, because there's been daily vlogs coming from Peaches and I. With the fear of TikTok being disbanded, as of right now, today is the 17th, we have till Sunday. Knowing that TikTok may go away, we are trying to find new channels to be on. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, obviously. But we are losing our reach on TikTok. So we are going to be providing Patreon with a whole lot more content so that we don't have to worry about the monetization policies of major platforms. We don't have to worry about them being canceled and taken down. So moving forward, we will continue to put clips on social media the way that we always have. YouTube will continue to get its Monday, Friday episodes. However, Patreon is going to be getting pretty much everything else. So for those of you who are not subscribed over to the To Be Better Patreon, the link's in the description of the video. I highly recommend that you go check that out. With that being said, I do believe that we are doing episode 20 today. I know that there are 2 updates in the folder that I'm going to read first, because I love updates. I love knowing how things have changed for people, and that's where we're going to start. I'm not going to waste a whole lot of your time. We're just going to jump right in. This is a distraction. Is the red soda can distracting you guys? It's a distraction for me. Let's set this over here. How about that? Is that still in the shot? Dope. There we go. No red can. Distraction's gone. Although everything is a distraction. We set this over there on the other side of that. Now that we've gotten the distractions out of the screen, because I was very distracted. I'm going to pop open my email. We're going to start update from 19, because this is the one that we just read. This email just came through the other day, and I want to go ahead and blast through this. Hey, Chris, thanks for your thoughts and reflection on my email. I was humbled to see that you chose to read it. He then goes on to say Keaton is a badass, because we had talked about Keaton. I joined his Limitless Society a couple years ago. Every Tuesday night, he does a 1-hour personal development call with the Limitless members. Excuse me. This call is gold. I joined Limitless when I was at a very low place in my life. I needed something to help get me out. I've met some awesome people through this. They've helped me get on a better path and moving in the direction of being the man I wanted to be. Sorry, guys. I didn't make this bigger the way that I should have, and I don't have a keyboard here. So, okay, you asked what I'm doing to become a man. Become the man my inner child needed. 1, I'm learning to love what I see in the mirror. Damn, this is a hard one. There are days I still don't like my reflection. I've learned to look deeper than the reflection and remind myself of my strengths. I have body dysmorphia. I'm currently 240 pounds, and I feel like I'm 350 pounds. So every time I see myself in the mirror, I am completely disgusted by what I see looking back at me. And that is also something I'm working on, so good for you. Number 2, you said calling myself out on my shit, then doing something about it. Love that. 3, being a present father and a husband. Each of my 3 kids require different things. That's huge that you recognize that. I make time to be there with them, and especially for the important stuff. I also make sure to make time for my wife. Most of the time, it's as simple as holding her hand or running my fingers through her hair at the end of the day. You want to level that shit up? Brush your wife's hair after she gets out of the shower. Pro tip. They love that shit. I think that you should be taking, if you only get an hour a day to spend with your kids and you have 3 of them, trying to break that up to give them equal attention is going to be difficult. But I believe that your wife should get at least an hour of your time every day, unfiltered, uninterrupted, and so should your kids. Knowing that they all need different things is huge, but don't squander your time. It needs to be prioritized. Number 4, communication. It's not just talking, it's listening too. I don't need to fix everything. Communication, yes, is both. You can't have communication if you're talking to a wall and it's not responding or listening, so you need to be listening, but I challenge you to actively listen. And by actively listen, I mean repeat things back and probe. Try to listen from a point of understanding versus just being engaged in a conversation. I cannot stress to you how important it is to probe into things. The more you understand things and the more you understand the why of things, the more effective you're going to be in dealing with said things. Number 5, taking the good and learning from the bad. I've been learning to take the good examples of men and trying to apply those aspects to my life. I've also taken in the bad things or things that I haven't liked and made sure to do what I need to do to not be like that. I've also had to remind myself no one is perfect. We are all on the earth to learn. Taking in people's bad habits and learning their shortcomings and how to avoid those in your life is a huge, huge tool, and it's something that most people can't do. And here's how I'm gonna prove it to you. Your parents will try to tell you to do things and how to do things and try to guide your life in a way that's going to set you up for success. You ain't listening to that shit. You will still follow in their footsteps. You'll implement their behavior patterns, their scowls, all of the things that your parents do that you grow up with that you see mirrored back at you, or is what you're going to end up doing. But you will not listen to other people's failures until you have had a whole lot of failures and don't want to live that way anymore. So most kids, when your parents are like, hey, don't do that, you're going to go do that because they told you not to. So being aware that you can learn from other people's shortcomings and mistakes is a huge, huge, huge thing. Number 6, lastly, failure is good. Some say it's not failing if you learn. I agree. I like to think of it as you need to fail to learn. A new skill takes 10,000 mistakes before you master it. We should be searching out opportunities to make mistakes, not hiding from them. So you are right and you are wrong in this. The 10,000 things is actually 10,000 hours to master something, and it takes 10,000 hours to master something to your current ability. If you are doing something like art or photography or vlogging or whatever the case may be, that 10,000 hours of mastery will come and go, and your level of ability will grow as you're doing it. So when you reach your initial 10,000 hours of mastery, that's to what you would start it at. You have new techniques, you're learning new things. So that 10,000 hours never really stops. And when you understand that, you learn that life is an entire process of learning, evolving, and growing. It tends to humble you a little bit. It reduces your ego and makes you focus on the bigger picture, which is living life. I do agree that if you learn something, you're not failing. You have to learn how to do things. If I sat down right now to try to build a house, there's no way. Even with YouTube, I'd fuck that all up. And if I got discouraged and just quit, there's my failure. But if I back the screws out and reset things and learn how to get things square, and I'm really starting to do things, making sure my foundation's level, etc., I'm learning. So the next time I build a house, I'll have a whole lot of failure that showed me the wrong way to do shit so that I have the right preparation to how to move forward. So love that one. He then wrote, I hope this is what you're looking for in response. Honestly, I've struggled the last few months on several of those. We are in a rough season as a family currently, so this was a great reminder for me. Your timing on this was perfect. I've literally just been surviving at the moment. We have literally sold 90% of our belongings, moved 3,500 miles from Alaska back to Utah, and starting all over again. The learning and being uncomfortable continues, but it will make us stronger. Thanks again. Best regard. Bro, Utah just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up. This is like the third time today Utah has been brought up to me. I think this might be a sign from God that we might need to be looking into doing something in Utah. Anyways, that's my self-reflection, not yours. I love the email, love the update. Thank you for that. I am going to pin that into the recorded folder, move it so that you get an update. And then here is another update. This one is called Patreon Year Life Update, 1 Year Life Update, VOTB episode 9. So I'm assuming this is somebody that wrote in already. Excuse me, I am parched. The red can. Don't know if that's still in the shot. I'm going to assume it's not. Oh, I rhymed. Look at that. All right. Hello, Chris and Peaches. It's no Peaches. This is just me. Just me. Although I'm sure she'll love to hear this since this is a Patreon 1 year update. Thank you for being a member of our Patreon for a year. Hopefully this is an amazing email and you've got all kinds of life shit that's happening that's super dope so that people can be like, damn, I really need to join that Patreon. And if you do join our Patreon and you do not get into the Discord, you are missing out on a community that I cannot even begin to describe how amazing it is. Peaches and I get in there and create all kinds of chaos and have conversations with everybody. And I went in there the other night and let the Discord on fire, and it was going berserk. It was moving so fast that we had to scroll up to be able to pay attention to what was going on. It was crazy, just pure chaos, but it was a lot of fun. Highly recommend that you guys check out our Patreon. Hope this finds you well. I am writing this as a 1 year life update from my original emails, which became episode 9 of The Voice of the Broken. I will aim to make this more lighthearted so it is fine to be read on the main podcast. Maybe we'll read it there too. We'll see. I cannot thank you both enough for the knowledge and tools that you have provided my wife and I so that we can make our love and relationship stronger. From better understanding of each other's love languages to learning how we can diffuse our disruptions more quickly and being able to move past it and carry on with our day and not let it ruin our time. It's important, guys. I mean, that's it. It's a bad moment, not a bad day. It's a bad day, not a bad month. It's a bad day, not a bad life. It's all perspective. This little disruption could be the end of the world, or you can be like, oh, damn, that sucked, and just move on. Even the reading list, so I can find more tools to help us, like choice theory. I can honestly say that we are at our happiest than we have been in years. I know it is us doing the work, but I put most of it to you two for giving us the tools. It took me roughly 13 months, but I finally got caught up on the current content on Spotify. You got a whole lot of shit to go back to listen to on Patreon. Kudos to you for listening over the last year and a half. Thank you for being a member of the Patreon. And I know that a lot of people like to credit us for giving us the tools. We are really just telling you what's worked for us. Peaches and I have had really shitty situations in the past, and we have a dope situation now, and we want to share all of the things that have got us to where we are so that you guys can either build on the tools, utilize the tools, throw out the tools that don't work, but ultimately the goal is to get you to where we are. And if we can get everybody in a loving relationship, the world's going to be a better place. Moving on, he says, we have had our share of struggles over the past year, but the difference is this year compared to the past is I had the to be better community to lean on for support, motivation, and encouragement, as well as your knowledge to help shift my focus and mindset for the better, and realizing what I want out of our life, one of the struggles being my LLC business venture of mobile electronic device repairs. This is flopping. I'm assuming you meant flipping, whatever. Partially my own negligence and not going all in. I've invested a good amount of money in marketing, probably the wrong places looking back, and got zero ROI, return on investment. Partially not doing enough of my own research and biting off more than I could chew too early on while trying to maintain a full-time job. Eventually, the messages and calls stopped completely, so I chalked it up to lesson learned. I wish you were on a phone call right now. I have so many questions. My biggest reason for wanting to start the LLC and working for myself was that at the time, I was miserable at my day job. Hear that. And that looked like the best way out, doing what I like to do to provide for my family. But now I hear Chris in the back of my head saying, if you don't run your house, what the fuck makes you think you can run a business? Yes. I say smart shit every once in a while, guys. And I hear that loud and clear. That's it, man. If you can't run your house, what makes you think you can run your business? Man, I really do say some smart shit sometimes. I also want to point out that not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. Statistically, less than 10% of the population are even willing to try their hand at entrepreneurial life. Out of that 10%, less than 2% make it a year as their own business owner, entrepreneur. Out of that 2%, when you look at 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years, that number decreases less than 1%. So being an entrepreneur is really hard. And there's a whole lot of things that goes into making that happen. And one of the biggest things is mentorship, which is why we have the community that we have. It's why I have the men's group. It's why Mike, Katie, Peaches, and I have built To Be Focused so that we can actually start mentoring you guys, coaching you, and getting you past the hurdles so that you don't do things like waste money in marketing the wrong way to build your brand. Plug To Be Focused. Check it out, guys. ToBeFocused.com, or go on to YouTube and type in To Be Focused and find our YouTube channel. Moving on, the whole situation made me realize what I actually value and what are my motivations out of my career. My motivation is money, first above all else. Even if that sounds greedy, I am taking the highest paying job I can find while maintaining a certain level of stress so it does not spill over in the home. Pause. It's not greed. Anybody that tells you that chasing money is all about your greed and your ego and all of that, you need to respond to them that it is about financial freedom. If I wanted to get on a plane right now and take Peaches to Vegas for a week, I can do that. We could leave tonight. The ability to do that is there. If I want to take the entire week off next week, we've done enough work to be able to do that and not have to worry about income, worry about how bills are going to get paid. There's a whole lot of other stresses in life that would still have to be taken care of. But the ability to live our life the way that we want to live our life comes from having financial freedom. Money makes that happen. So if you are living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, and you are struggling in that aspect, you will never have the financial freedom to do the things that you want to do. That doesn't necessarily mean entrepreneurship. Sometimes that means finding a better job and having entrepreneurship. Sometimes it means finding somebody that believes in you and helping them build their brand so that you can make a really good living and not have to deal with the other facets of the business. If greed is what other people see, fuck them. Let them see the greed. Let them see you hustle and then see the vacation photos you're posting. Let them see your kids going to college. Let them see all the shit that they wish that they had for themselves. And when they go, it must be nice, you'd be like, you damn right it is. It's amazing. I wish you could have experienced it, but you were too busy eating fucking bonbons, watching Married with Children on the couch with your hands in your pants. Taking a break, getting worked up, starting to sweat. All right. With that being said, I quit the tech job in August of 2024 and found a new tech job that pays $13,000 more on the salary, and the environment and workload is half as stressful as the previous place of employment. Secondly, I want peace in my home and stability. I made changes so I was no longer at a place I was absolutely miserable and it was bleeding over into my home. So I did something about it and I found a new job. Things are a bit difficult since my wife and I are still doing split shifts, with me working throughout the day and her working second/third shift. We do things to avoid having to put our daughter in daycare. I fucking love that, dude. Love that. Looking back, I hate that we put ourselves in this situation. We have been doing this shift since my daughter was born. My wife and I will be married for 7 years as of September 2025, so roughly half of our marriage. We get to sleep in the same bed at the same time for 2 nights on the weekends and only see each other for about 2 hours a day during the week. I should have done what I could have at the time so my wife could have stayed at home. I agree with that too. I want to come back on the kid thing, but I'm going to finish the paragraph. But what's done is done. It cannot be changed. That's bullshit. You can change it. We cannot get that time back. You're right, you can't. But we can change how we move forward and what we do with the time that we have left ahead of us. You don't know how much time that is. Let that sink in. Everybody's listening. You don't know how much time that is. It could be a week. It could be 6 months. It could be 60 years. You don't know. You could leave right now and get struck by lightning. So reclaim your time and put that shit where it matters. Not putting your kid in daycare is huge. Our kids go to public school, and I hate it. I hate everything about it. I don't want them there. I don't want them in the government-ran indoctrination system. Our son is spicy-brained, and he's got a whole lot of things that he needs, and because he's in public school, he's not getting them. I can teach our son in 2 hours what he's going to school for 8 hours to do. And I know because he goes to school, doesn't do his work, and comes home, and we have to do it. And no matter who helps, everybody teaches differently. He responds really well to having me sitting there helping him with his work. He gets the shit done super fast, and then he can go play. I don't like the idea of somebody else raising my kids. And if you don't think a daycare or a babysitter is somebody else raising your kids or a teacher, you're wrong. School is one of the biggest influences in your children's life, especially if you're working different shifts and you don't get to see them very often. That's not me shitting on you. My kids are in public school and we are working diligently to get their asses out of school. We have things in the works right now. If everything goes as I want it to go, our kids will be pulled out of school by the end of 2025, and they will be homeschooled, and we will be traveling like crazy, and they'll be getting all kinds of dope experience, life experience. But that's neither here nor there. So I understand. That's not me shitting on people that don't have the ability to do it. I fucking get it. Sometimes it's just not in the cards, but it is still factual that other people are raising your kids. Our biggest new hurdle to overcome is introducing a new child into the world. We are expecting a baby boy in May of 2025, right before our daughter turns 4 in June. With this new life we will have to care for, we have decided it is time that we make a move to a more traditional household. This looks like having my wife become a stay-at-home mom. We have found that this is truly what we both want in our home. My wife hates missing out on being around the kids because she is sleeping during the day to work all night. We both hate not being able to see each other, but for only a few hours a week. I would give her the time to control and manage the things within the home. It would give her times to control and manage things in the home, and would give me the freedom to be outside of the home more, to be more profitable with my time. I love the way that you worded that. We both are also doing Uber Eats and Instacart deliveries in our free time for extra cash. Also check out ratracerebellion.com. If you want to work from home, there's all kinds of cool shit that you can do. There's a lot of websites like that. You don't have to, if you've got good internet, you don't have to go to work. You don't have to leave your fucking house if you don't want to. You can do everything that you need to do from the house. Uber Eats, Instacart, DoorDash, all that shit is awesome. I have a friend that's making like $60,000 a year doing DoorDash, and he works a normal, hours. He's actually kind of a hustler, so he's working a lot more now, but he was making 60 a year. He's making more now. Historically, my wife has managed our finances, our whole relationship. We have had a shared bank account since before we got married, and we married at the age of 20. Over the years, I have asked and sometimes even begged for her to let me manage our finances. After some talks and even disagreements, we agreed to let that responsibility fall to me. I could tell she has been stressing about the money. I was stressing about not being in control of the money, and with her being pregnant, we needed to minimize the stress. Since this change, I was able to feel an immediate difference. Love that, because you're running your household. She's not stressing over the money anymore. She's trusting me to let me handle it all. I'm not stressing anymore because I no longer feel like I am not in control of our home finances. It also gives me something to do to occupy my time of crunching numbers. Where can we save money? Where can we pay off debt? Whereas this time doing this would have just been spent doom scrolling or something else that's not useful. I love everything about this. With the new job, I have been reintroducing old hobbies back into my life. I have occasionally been picking back up guitar, but mainly I have been drawing, a lot of drawing. Between drawing and realizing when I went out of my career, basically making enough money to support my family, enjoy what I do, and have a bit of freedom to get out of the corporate environment, I am finding that I want to get into tattooing. For Christmas, I got my tattoo artist and the owner of the shop items from Sullen. When I dropped them off, I talked to the shop owner, showed him my drawings, and let him know I'm interested in an apprenticeship. I'm going to pause. I'm bookmark that. I'll come back to it. As of the time of this writing, nothing's set in stone yet, but he's entertaining the idea of letting me work there part-time once tax season hits and they pick back up after slow season and start me out on piercings and then moving to tattooing. This is a lot of people's come up. Counter help, piercing, tattooing. If you're going to get a tattoo apprenticeship, be a tattoo artist. Don't try to learn. You should learn the front counter. Everybody during their apprenticeship should work the front counter. But if you're trying to be a tattoo artist, be a tattoo artist. If you're trying to be a body piercer, but don't try to do both. Yes, you can make money doing both, but when you get to the point where you're the only body piercer in a studio and you're trying to tattoo and you've got an all-day sit and piercings are coming in and you have to stop, your client doesn't want to fucking sit there and wait on you to do 10 piercings throughout the day, especially when they're paying you big money to be in the chair. Pick a craft. Learn the craft. If this dude wants you to be counter help and you're just going to be counter help, make sure that you're getting paid for it. If this is an apprenticeship and it's contracted to be dude, you need to send me an email about tattooing and about a tattoo apprenticeship because I have so much to say that could be an entire ass episode. Be very wary of people taking advantage of counter help in the tattoo industry. The amount of people that I know personally that have paid $5,000, $10,000 for apprenticeships, were there for a year and screwed, are not tattoo artists, had to find different apprenticeships, are out all that money, had their equipment stolen, is astronomical. I know more people in the industry that have that story than people who had a successful apprenticeship. I'm going to leave it at that. This is one of those things that I absolutely can't stand. Knowing that he's trying to bring you in during tax season, he's trying to fill an extra body, and if he's just going to throw you to the wolves for piercing before tax season, that's a problem. Body piercing is an easy thing to learn, but you do need to learn it. You need to learn cross-contamination. All of these things are habitual. You have to learn good bedside manners and like how to not cross-contaminate or how to really do the body piercings. And that is a repetitive thing. So if he's going to go, all right, here's how you do this piercing, go do 10 of them. That's not the move. Moving on. It is a lot of wishful thinking and hopes and dreams, but we are turning into plans and actions, and I believe that I can do it. Do right by my family, though. Once my wife leaves her jobs and starts staying at home full time, then I will be gone the majority of the day. I know, before I move on, the tattoo apprenticeship thing, don't think that you're going to work a tattoo job and have a normal life, dude. The tattoo industry is a 12 to 12 kind of thing for a lot of people. It's a 1 to 10 or a 10 to 8. you're still going to miss out most of the day. And if you work in a town that's busy, you're going to be missing out most of the nights. The tattoo industry is not an easy place to have a family, especially when you're just starting out and you haven't built a name for yourself and you're shop hopping. Okay, moving back on. Once my wife leaves her job and starts staying at home full time, then I will be gone the majority of the day. I know one of my complaints above was not seeing my wife more than I get to now, but in my head I can justify it because at least I'm meeting her want of being able to be a stay-at-home mom with the kids. If she is happy to take care of the home, then I am okay with being gone most of the day if it means that I get to provide for my family. You still need to make sure that you put the time in for your wife and kids. At least an hour a day. Entertain me for a minute, but in my head, once my wife is staying at home and I start the apprenticeship, my typical workday during the week will look like 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. I get up at 6 a.m., get ready for work, leave by 7, have till 8 to start my day job. Depending on my day, I can cut loose from 2 to 5, head straight to the tattoo shop, and work till 9, doing whatever I can for funds. That's not an apprenticeship. That's not how that works. So I'm telling you right now that what you have and what you've got played out in your head is not how that works. You're going to go to work at a day job, leave your day job, go home and be at the tattoo shop for free, doing absolutely nothing other than what they tell you, answering phones, doing paperwork, cleaning up after artists, maybe learning how to set up and break down when you're ready to do that, eventually making stencils. Apprenticeships take time. So you're going to be working for free from 5 to 9, 4 hours a week, 5 days a week. Like that's a whole lot harder on the apprenticeship than being there every single day. I'm not saying you can't do it. You may get into a shop where you have a very attentive mentor and they sit you down and like you are gung-ho. I just don't see that being the case for most shops. After the shop, Uber deliveries for an hour or two, should be home by midnight, rinse and repeat. So you're going to get 6 hours of sleep, spend no time with your wife or kids. I mean, if this is your dream and this is what you want to do, you're gonna end up sacrificing a lot to get there. I also understand that leaves no decompression time after work, but honestly, I have a lot of downtime during my day job, and again, it's not that stressful. That also leaves me 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night during the week. That's if you get to sleep as soon as you get home. The reality is you're going to come home, be fucking tired, decompress, lay down. You're probably not going to fall asleep. In the event that you have a sick wife, sick kid, sick dog, whatever the case may be, that 5 to 6 hours now becomes 3 hours, 4 hours, and you're going to be burning the candle at both ends. You're going to find yourself in a really shitty position really quick. I'm not saying it's not doable. I fucking lived in my tattoo shop for 8 months. There were literally nights that I didn't go home. I just slept on the couch, Navy bath, changed my shirt, and fucking stayed the next day. It is going to suck. I'm going to feel worn the hell down, but I know that it will be temporary. The kids will not be babies forever. Eventually, they will go to school. My daughter should start preschool this August. I will not be an apprentice forever either. Eventually, I will get to where I can do tattooing full time and hopefully make enough money for my family doing that solely, and I won't have to work 3 jobs. At that point, my schedule will free up a bit. Yes, it will be consumed with drawing, preparing my next session, but I am willing to do it at the rate we are going. Our 30s are going to be dope. Obviously, unforeseen things can happen, and you cannot plan for what happens. I can't help but feel optimistic, though. I love the optimism. That's super gangster. I would love to have an actual conversation with you over this apprenticeship. I got to be honest, hearing this, there's a little bit of worry for me. And I'm the guy that's like, fucking dive in head first. If you don't know how to swim, you're going to learn real quick or you're going to die. I am an all or nothing mindset. And this is something that I believe that people can do. I've done it. I just don't think it's for everyone. And knowing that you have wife and kids and you've got people in the background that are depending on you, be prepared for your home life to get fucked up. That's all there is to it. It will absolutely you are going to go through it over the next year or 2 years of your life while you're doing this. I'm also very curious to see your art, because if your art is not very good, you're not going to be able to support an entire family on a sole income as a tattoo artist, especially with the way the tattoo industry has become. All right, I would like to take this moment to address questions and challenges Chris hit me with from the Voice of the Broken episode. I don't remember what the conversation was. I'm just going to read these and hopefully it jars a memory. If not, we're everybody that didn't watch episode 9, we're in this together. You were right. Both of my parents failed me horribly. I have had a hard time coming to terms or working up the nerve to sever ties, specifically with my mom. I have started going to therapy once a month and that has helped a bit. but I definitely have more work to do, starting to be more open and talking about my past abuse and traumas has helped me come to terms with it. It is a shitty thing that happened to me, but that can be chalked up as a past life. It does not define me. That's actually how I view it too. All that shit that happened in my life was a past life. It was this life. I went through it. Stronger because of it. It happened. I'm over it. Not always. Most of the time. Chris, I hear you say often you can have a new relationship with your same person, and that was definitely my motto this past year. Before I found the podcast, we were in a very rough place. June of 2023, divorce was on the table. I was actively looking at for my own place to live and had a few times that I slept in my car in my office parking lot. We stuck it out, tried to find common ground, and went on a trip, just the two of us, for our anniversary in September. We were able to kind of get back to normal. Come November of 2023, I found the podcast, listened on my own for a bit, and then introduced it to her. Then I really started to see the changes for the better, rather than just us being okay. We seemingly did what you said. We started a new relationship, but with the same person. Love all of that. He then goes on to write, I want to be a better man for my wife and a better role model for our children. I have faith that my new venture with the internship will be humbling and will make me realize how much work there is still to be done. The shop owner who would ultimately be my mentor may not have children or a family. There's something to fucking see there, guy. But he is business oriented and he has recovered from substance abuse, addiction, and is currently straight edge. You just said it right there. It's fine. Thank you. I need that in my life. Someone to follow that has walked down an awful path but made it out and can help lead me in the right direction. Something I desperately needed growing up. Better late than never, though. I have been working on cutting out things that I have been enslaved to, like alcohol, tobacco, coffee, and sugar. I slipped on the smoking and picked it back up, but I am back to the nicotine patches, trying to dwindle it. I pretty much don't drink alcohol at all anymore, and going to social events without drinking. I have pretty much cut out soda and replaced it with water and limit myself to 1 cup of coffee a day and maybe 2 on the weekends. It's about discipline to say I can limit myself and not give in. I guess. That's exactly what it is. You're in control of your fucking life, dude. Make the decisions, own your shit. Love all of that. You need to join our men's group. You need to join the men's group. You are going to get more out of that men's group than I think that you can even begin to understand. And if you want to really take things to the next level, you need to join To Be Focused, where you get one-on-one coaching. Mike and I are both shop owners. We're both tattoo artists. We're both award-winning artists. Like, there's a whole lot of things that you can gain from that is not just business. You can, tattoo conversations. We can help you with the tattoo side of things. We can help you in your relationship. Mike and Katie are fucking dope in their relationship. Take it for which one take it for, though. The one thing that I have personally having issues with coming to terms with is my faith. I was raised Catholic, converted to Baptist because my mom remarried, and went atheist as I grew up and got my own thoughts and opinions. The further I go down this journey, the more I am leaning into maybe I should believe, ? There have been times, especially when listening to your episodes that are more religion oriented, that I scratch my head and think, damn, maybe I have been wrong this whole time. It has been something I have been very conflicted on over the past 6 months. Bro, that's why they call it faith. If it was easy, everyone would have it. I struggle. There are days where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. There's days that I've truly thought about turning my back, but I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can see that by the way that I'm living my life. Having that what if, or having conversations and doing all of that shit is absolutely normal. This is the difference between religion and relationship, though. I'm not religious. I have a relationship with God. It's a very different scenario. I'm not doing what I'm told I'm supposed to be doing because somebody else interprets reading in scripture and tells me that that's what needs to be done. I'm doing it because I'm interpreting the scripture the way that it reads to me and the way that I hear God, and I'm living my life the way that my relationship is supposed to be. And I challenge all of you to do the thing without the religious aspect. Try to find a relationship in a higher being. It does a lot for your mental health. It also makes me wonder if that's one of the last things holding me back from actually being the best I can be. If I just gave it to God. Maybe that is what has been tripping me up all of these years, is not having something to put my faith into other than myself and my own capabilities. I'm only human. I can't do it all. And maybe I just need to let that part of my ego go. I was able to do the same when I started therapy. giving it to God goes a long way. I'm not going to make this a religious episode. I'm going to touch on this and move on. I give my problems to God. I give things that I can't give to my wife to God because I don't need to burden her with shit because I am the shield that is supposed to protect our family. However, if you look at your relationship to God the Father as a relationship between a father and a son, I don't want my son to come to me for every single thing going on in his life. You got a splinter, pull that shit out. You don't like your job, find a better job. I don't want to be the fixer of everything that goes on in your life. I want you to exhaust all of your resources. Show me that you care enough about this to suffer through it, to get to where you really, truly need my help, and then come talk to me and I'll help you get through it. You need advice, I can give you advice. That's where prayer comes in. But I don't want my son to think that he can just come to me and I'm going to figure his life out for him. I want him to figure that shit out on his own. I want him to overcome all of the obstacles that he can overcome so that he has confidence in his ability to do so. And that's where the relationship comes in. My prayers are 99% gratitude. I will sometimes go, God, I'm having a really hard day and I just need a little bit of encouragement or whatever. But those are very, very few and far between. I would rather have the gratitude. I'm sorry, guys. My phone is going absolutely fucking berserk right now. Letting go to start therapy took a 4-gram dose of mushrooms and a breakdown on my porch at 4 a.m. crying to the sky. Would not call it a bad trip, but very much probably ego death. Asking why I'm such a piece of shit to my wife and my family, why I can't step up and do what needs to be done to provide them the best life. Why did I let my wife work third shift for the past 3 years and put her through that? The answer is because I was selfish. I was more worried about my own comfortability than stepping up for them, and now I have to fix it. It's crazy what a big dose will do. I actually don't believe in bad trips. I've had one. And I know that it just contradicted itself. I had somebody lock me in a room once while I was on a substance. And the things that transpired past that was because of the experience of my setting and not because of what was going on in my head. I've had really dark experiences while under the influence, but I have always leaned at those things instead of trying to run from them. What is the medicine trying to teach me? What am I trying to get out of this? What are the neural pathways? Yes, that's my thing. Yes, lean into it. What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to show me? If it's too much, I can literally walk out of the room and get in a whole new perception. I literally just have to change my environment to change the experience that I'm going through in the moment. Those dark experiences were not bad. They were something that I needed to experience to heal from trauma, to learn something new, to connect the dots, whatever the case may be, so I don't view them as bad. That's a me thing, whatever. Moving on, he wrote, maybe I can then let it go, give it to God. Hopefully, when I do this again for another year's life update, I can share with you that I have found my faith with our healthy new baby. I'm searching for the right answers, and you definitely help give the right clues. I was the person that always said I would be dead by 30. I'm now projecting my life to really start to get good at 30. If I was asked 10 years ago, where would I be? I would have said dead or incarcerated, period. Married with 2 kids, mortgage payments, and car notes were not on my bingo card for life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I picked up my pen and I'm actively changing my story. Thank you again. I don't believe your life is going to truly start until you're 30 to 40. And here's why. From birth until the age of 18, we are still at our parents' behest. They are still trying to teach us how to be decent human beings. From 18 to 25, we are infantile adults. We don't know about insurance. We don't know about budgeting. We don't understand taxes. We don't understand shit. Because up until 18, the responsibility of our survival was on our parents. For most people. There are people out there, obviously, who didn't live with their parents until they're 18. Let's just stick to the conversation, guys. 18 to 25 is a whole lot of life lessons. You quit your job thinking you're still going to be able to pay your bills, and then you get eviction notice because you didn't have enough money to pay your bills. Now you got to deal with an eviction. Car notes, car insurance, cell phone bills, girlfriends, parties, fucking having to buy your own microwave, having to buy towels and silverware and junk drawer items and tape. Why do I not have tape? Right? So now you've got all of these things that you're trying to figure out, and you are in your crawling stage. Your quarter life crisis is going to happen between 25 and 30. You're going to realize that you don't know half of what you thought you knew when you were a teenager. And boy, do we think we fucking know everything as teenagers. My mom used to say to me, and you guys who are in your Gen X, you're going to get this. The rest of you may not. My mom used to collect Encyclopedia Britannica. And when I'd get in trouble, I'd have to read them. And she used to say all the time out of sarcasm, normally when I was in trouble, that she's just going to sell all of her Encyclopedia Britannica. And the sign is going to say, encyclopedias for sale, son knows everything. And I used to hate that shit because I didn't know everything. I knew what I wanted and I knew what I was passionate about. And I knew what made me happy, but I still said I know. And now as a parent, hearing I know infuriates the shit out of me because I get it. I digress. 18 to 25 is that time frame. 25 to 30, you're going to have that quarter life crisis and realize that everything you thought you knew was stupid and that you don't know shit. 30 to 40, you're getting your life together. Your 30s, 30 to 40 is going to be a whole lot better than 20 to 30. 40 to 50 is going to be a whole lot better than 30 to 40 because now you've got life kind of figured out and you're in the 20s of your adulthood. So and then you got to worry about, 40s, you start worrying about retirement and things of that nature. But your life is an evolution. It's going to continue to evolve. Everything that you think you know is going to change. All the tattoos that you get, all the relationships that you had, all the cars that you bought, the stereo systems, the video game consoles, having the biggest TV, making sure you got a new pair of J's and the new clean, crisp hat and the jewelry and the gold and the alcohol and all of that shit is fucking stupid. And as you age, your priorities will shift and the new shinies are going to look different. And you have to roll with the punches. For me, the new shinies are vacation. Yeah, I have multiple vehicles and I have a lot of cool electronics and I like my tech and I do those things, but none of that fills me up like taking a vacation with my wife. Going to Thailand with a group of people that I had never met before and looking around and seeing everyone on the boat smiling and my wife in my fucking arms while the sun is setting with a giant Buddha statue in the background because it's on an island and I'm in Thailand. That's the new shiny. Those memories fucking do it for me. I know that these episodes are normally only an hour and that was a thank you. That was an update. I'm going to look to see if we have another short one and I'm going to read to see if we can problem solve. But guys, I hope you're getting some value out of this because I'm going to read this one. If we go over an hour, we go over an hour. I don't think we will, though. 5 pages is normally not a lot. Hey, guys. Firstly, big fan. My wife and I love listening to y'all on YouTube. I almost said on the YouTube. He didn't write that. It's just the way that I almost said it. On cleaning days, instead of listening to music, we will put the show on the TV and turn it up loud. Hey, we're a show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a show. Peaches and I, the 2 Be Better podcast, is a show. It is not a podcast. A little background for this one. I come from a broken home. Mom had a temper and didn't really get along with my stepdad. My fault with my own pride. I get that. I can tell you tons of stories about me and my stepdad. I have so much respect for that man now, but when I was a teenager, oh my fucking God, did I hate him. Biological dad was somewhere working, or at least that's what we were told. I have one full blood brother that I share that struggle with. There have been a few things. There have been a few things that I haven't told him from our past, trying to protect his feelings towards our family and let his happy memories be his own views on loved ones. Plenty of trauma to go in with that. Learning to keep my mouth shut and feelings buried because expressing myself led to getting yelled at or hit. Well, you definitely got shit to work through then. So naturally, anxiety and depression became to set in, along with the diagnosis of ADHD. I don't like the label. Meds made everything worse for that. Okay? So don't take the meds and find other ways, because it's absolutely possible to restructure your life without medicine. Prescriptions, whatever. I thought it was normal to feel like this until I met my wife in 10th grade. She showed me what love and understanding was, but I still had my walls up and didn't let them down completely. Last time I trusted, I turned into a victim of SA or got beat. Lost a lot of friends due to suicide, overdose, and murder. That made it easy to not get close to anybody because I was tired of going to funerals and not even at the age of being able to drive yet. My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, was able to talk me out of that life and show me a better way to live. I began to study more with her, with her help, and tried to get my diploma. I quit drugs cold turkey and never looked back. She was worth changing my entire life and how I behaved at the time. And not joking when I say she saved my life, got through school together, and married the next year at 19 years old. We got a little backlash from family members for getting married so young. But when you know that feeling is true love, you go for it. Why did that read so weird to me? But when you know that feeling is true love, you have to go for it. Maybe I should have stopped at the last email. I can't read, guys. I was terrified I was going to break her heart. The only way I knew how to live was by lying or stealing. Obviously, I wasn't going to do that, but being honest was extremely new to me. Dealing with anxiety and depression, work is what took my mind off everything in my messed up head. I went to work in the oil field, so I was working long hours, 16 to 18-hour shifts. Not long after she was pregnant, and I had to upgrade to a bigger apartment for us. When she got around 7 months pregnant, the oil industry went down so bad that I wasn't even able to get my 40 hours a week. We were about to get evicted and couldn't bring my wife into the home that I grew up in. I called my grandmother, who had some land and a spare house. She let us live in there in a double wide that needed a little work. I was so embarrassed that I promised my wife the world, but could only deliver living on my grandmother's land. I felt like a failure. She assured me that everything was fine and she wasn't going to resent me for having a tough hand to deal with. Still, my pride was shot down and fell into a hole of depression set in. I went and found more work. It was the only distraction I had already knew worked. Fast forward, that was in 2015. It's now 2024 and we are still there, but mainly helping my grandmother out around the land. I had taken a job working on air conditioners and restaurant equipment. It was very demanding, and sometimes I wouldn't get home until about 2 a.m. due to 24-hour restaurants. We have 3 boys. She was getting compliments on being a single mother because of my absence. Jeez, that's fucked up. She started getting depressed and accusing me of being unfaithful. I tried to reassure her that nothing was happening and offered to take her with me on some of these jobs, giving her full access to my location's social media accounts. She got help, and I chose to save my family over money. I found an office job that pays less, but I get to be off work by 5 p.m., weekends off. She and the kids loved it. Daddy was home more. We got to have dinner, have movie nights, however, without the distraction of work. I began to sink into my depression, letting my head win. I began doing the same thing to my wife, accusations and getting easily irritated. The only friend I had at the time tried to talk to my wife on social media and in a very inappropriate manner. Needless to say, we had a falling out. With nobody to talk to, things only getting worse, I began to turn into a hermit. Not going out, not going to family functions, ignoring phone calls, etc. Got to a point of drinking every night after the kids were in bed and feeling guilty, accusing my wife of the things that simply were not true. I got drunk one night late March, got my handgun, did the thing. Staring in the mirror, bawling my eyes out after a few seconds, knowing I was 100% going to pull the trigger, I heard a knock on the bedroom door. My son called out to me, "Can I have a hug? I'm having a bad dream." There's God. Right there. I put it away and gave him a big hug. The timing was so crazy, it was like a movie. But I couldn't ignore it as a sign. I didn't tell anybody and started going to a therapist. I got put on antidepressants, but it was only helping a little. A few weeks after this, and we had a friend over. We got to drinking and talking. You shouldn't be drinking if you're on SSRIs. He became like a brother that night. We drank, laughed, cried, and hugged. We were both going through similar situations, and being able to let it all out with no judgment was exactly what we needed. That night the night had ended, and my wife helped me into bed. In a drunken stupor, I told her about the night. That night. I was selfish to tell her and think that it was no big deal. She started distancing herself away from me so that if something did happen, then maybe it would hurt less. I noticed and confronted her about it. She immediately broke down into hysterical tears, and she told me that it broke her heart to hear me, her husband of 9.5 years, father to our 3 boys, say that I was going to take my life. Yeah, I bet. And this is the struggle. And leave her and the kids. We cried for hours, talking, expressing our feelings. We talked through it, and again, exactly what we needed. I got rid of the gun. Looking at it made me sick with regret. I ignored my inner thoughts and started going out more. dressing a little better, going to bed on time, and not drinking unless I'm at a function. Started reading books instead of watching movies, listening to audiobooks while at work instead of music, and finally found you guys on TikTok. I began taking advice from y'all and from the books I was reading, quit blaming the world for my views, and took actions instead of waiting around for a change. I'm now coaching my youngest boy's soccer team, and I'm loving it. Being a role model for these kids and healing my inner child by doing this, it's therapeutic for me. Keeps me distracted from my head, and these kids get to learn how to play in a sport and be a good sport in life. I'm going to pause because I have some things I want to touch on, and I'm starting to forget it. I was going to try to get through this because it's only 5 pages and then touch on this. I don't believe that everybody that is feeling depression is depressed. I believe that we don't know how to express what we're feeling, and saying I'm depressed conveys that thought enough that people understand that they're not happy. And if I can tell you I'm depressed, people go, okay, he's having a hard time mentally right now. He's depressed, he's struggling, whatever the case may be, but that's not what actual depression is. It is okay to say I'm not happy in my life. I'm not content. I'm tired of the same old, same old. I'm tired of waking up, going to work every day, feeling the same fucking thing, going to bed at night, miserable, feeling like my wife doesn't love me, my kids don't know me, and just going through the fucking routine. And I know I dropped the F-bomb a lot there, but I wanted to get my point across, guys. This is not depression. This is you not living with purpose. This is you living your young life with friends and functions and social and work and school and all of the things that make up your day, of you having something to have to get through every day. Then going into adulthood and realizing that life is not what you thought it was going to be when you were an adult. Your friends start slipping away. You find yourself lonely, even though you're married and having kids, because you don't have anyone to truly connect to. And life feels like you're just going through the motions. That's not depression. Boredom is not depression. Loneliness is not depression. Being unhappy is not depression. It's being unhappy. When that unhappiness gets to the point where you think about eliminating yourself, that's a very different conversation. I think we need to learn how to identify what it is that we're feeling and express it, what we need to our person that we are, that we're married to, or the people that we are living our life with, so that we can try to overcome that sadness and find ways to find content. I want to be content. I want to be okay every day. Even if today's not a great day, it's not a bad day, it's just a day. You have to get there. It takes time. It takes an understanding of what you're going through and being able to talk things out with your person. Moving on, he wrote, my goal is to be the dad I needed while growing up. I used to blame him and a problem with the world because of it. I learned to forgive and what second chances mean. We now have a great relationship. My heart is full of love again. And I thank God every day that I didn't put my family through the grief of losing the man of the house. Not sure if this will get aired or read all the way through, but if it does, if there is anything helpful here and you use it to dissect however you see fit, I'm a big fan. I love the show. Much love from mine to yours. And that puts us still under an hour. That's okay, though. I said what I had to say about your email, man. I'm glad that you're thriving. I'm glad that you found something to give you hope and gives you something to work forward for, something to push you forward, something to motivate you to do more than what you've been doing. I love that you're more involved with the kids. I'm glad that you realize that there's more to life than the grind. I understand that I am a big proponent of hustle, 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 but I also spend the time with my family. There are a lot of nights where I'm doing absolutely nothing, phones on Do Not Disturb, and we're sitting in the living room watching movies together, pausing and having conversations about why, because it's kids' questions, why? God, I'm so sick of that question. But it's there. So we're under an hour. It's close enough. Wrap it up, guys. Thank you. This is episode 20, I think, of Voice of the Broken. If you have not subscribed to our Patreon yet, you are missing out on a shit ton of content. Patreon.com/to-be-better. Go sign up. Jump into the Discord. Make sure that you say hello in the ball pit. Hey, I'm new here. People will talk to you. You can start becoming a part of the community. You will get out of it what you put into it. Peaches and I are in there a lot. We have Patreon live streams that nobody else gets to see. We record almost every episode live in terms of the actual podcast. And we have big things. Guys, you want to support what we're doing and you get value from what we're doing, you want to make sure that we continue doing it, join our Patreon. As TikTok is falling off and Instagram doesn't pay and like we have built a business out of this, in order for this business to continue, we have to make money to do it. If you want to support us, share the content, comment on the content, and join our Patreon. That being said, guys, we will see you on the next one.